Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone. I hope you can hear me well and that the interpretation is working smoothly. So thank you very much to Lukas Kirillo. It's a pleasure to be with you and to be with all friends today, even if I'm only joining virtually. And I'm Maria Nyman. I'm the Secretary General of Caritas Europa, of which Caritas Czech Republic is one of the members. We have a network of 46 national Caritas member organizations across Europe, part of Caritas Internationalis, which is the global confederation of the Caritas family. So I'd like to start by congratulating Caritas Czech Republic for your fantastic CARES Poverty Report. Thanks for organizing this launch event today. It's an honor to be part of this work. It's an honor to contribute to addressing some of the structural challenges on the ground and making a difference for people in situations of vulnerability. Caritas organizations are essential actors in lifting people out of poverty, in combating social exclusion, and in promoting social justice. Caritas does so by listening to the people, by assisting the people, by providing services to the people in need. But we also do that by addressing the unfair structures and the policies. So we really try to tackle the root causes leading to situations of poverty and of exclusion. And for the last 8 years, Caritas Europa has been producing a series of reports. Every second year, we are producing national reports and a European report focusing on one particular social policy topic every time. And these reports, they identify the challenges on the ground in the national context, and they provide an analysis of the national and of the European policies in response to these challenges. And they promote our members' promising practices and projects, and they offer recommendations at the national level and at the European policy level. The latest series of Caritas Poverty Reports, they focus on the inclusive labor market. 18 Caritas, national Caritas, have been contributing in this sense, and there have been 18 national reports prepared. And out of the results of these reports, we have been preparing the European report, which is a comprehensive analysis of the labor market trends and of the challenges and of the European policy responses. It builds on all these 18 national reports. Before the outbreak of COVID-19, we saw a trend of economic growth. But at the same time, we saw a gradual erosion in the general quality and in the security of employment across Europe. Even before the beginning of the pandemic and still today, there are many workers in vulnerable situations who face severe challenges with a much higher unemployment rate than the general working population. So there are a number of vulnerable groups that we need to pay particular attention to, and what we have been focusing on in these European and national reports. For example, younger people, and especially young people from disadvantaged backgrounds, and those who can be classified as NEETs, meaning that they are not in education, nor in employment, nor in training, they often have inadequate or poor quality education and a lack of professional experience, which really makes it hard to find a job. Another vulnerable group is migrants. Migrants are often finding themselves in precarious jobs with lower qualifications or performed functions than their actual qualifications. And that's partly due to discrimination, and these people are often at risk of exploitation. Roma people also face ethnic discrimination, and they often have limited work experience and don't always have access to legal documents. Women is another group that is often confined to temporary or part-time employment. due to unrecognized caring responsibilities, and they still suffer from the gender pay gap. And people with disabilities have often low employment rates, which makes them depend on low income state support. They become often state dependent. Non-standard employment and informal workers, they particularly suffer from low wages, from precarious and unsafe working conditions, and exploitation. And care workers are often underpaid and undervalued, with many working on informal contracts. We have older workers. They face challenges particularly related to outdated skills, including a lack of digital skills and the accessibility of workplaces. And then came the COVID-19 pandemic. And between the end of 2019 and the first quarter of 2021, which is the period we have been looking into, the total employment fell by almost 5 million people, among which more than 1 million were young workers aged 15 to 24. So I'm speaking about the European picture here. The social economic fallout of the pandemic, it hit Europe's economies hard. It reinforced the pre-existing inequalities and the gaps in the European labor market. They just exacerbated what was already challenges that we were facing. And they were placing many people in even more vulnerable situations without employment and without adequate social protection. Now, Caritas member organizations and also other non-for-profit social service providers and civil society organizations, we have been stepping in and we've been trying to mitigate all these difficult impacts of the pandemic. Despite the fact that we also were in challenging situations as a service provider. We were also hit by the pandemic, but we have tried to step in, we have tried to support, despite the growing number of people that have come to us for support and services. Many people came to Caritas during the pandemic, people that said to us, we never thought we would ever need to turn ourselves to Caritas. And here we are, because of all of these challenges that we have been talking about. So in our European CARES Poverty Report, we are presenting a number of recommendations, and out of time, I will not go through them all, but they include demands on the European policymakers and on the national policymakers. And we really trust and hope that also Caritas Czech Republic will pick up on all of these recommendations in your work with your policymakers at the national level. They cover issues such as the need for a European Framework Directive on minimum income that can really guarantee a decent life for all citizens. They also speak of the importance of a EU-wide job guarantee. We also call for civil society organizations to be recognized as official providers of tailored and inclusive employment services. We ask for the need to continue to support all the workers in the vulnerable situations, to recognize the educational and professional qualifications of migrants, to increase investment to support measures aiming at disadvantaged youth and those who are not in education or employment or training, to really invest in them to ensure that they can be brought into the labor market and also reduce the school drops out. We ask for extending social security measures to all workers in non-standard employment. We ask for the political will, to increase the political will through guidelines, ensuring better investment, more targeted investments in the people. And I really invite you to look through our European report, which we're actually launching next week. So your national report is being launched now, just ahead of our European report. And we really invite you to look through these recommendations and to build on them. Because Caritas, we seek to be a catalyst for positive change by reminding all the stakeholders what an inclusive labor market should really look like, whether it's protection, whether it's support, and where we have workers who are truly empowered. People, women and men of all age groups, of all capabilities, of all backgrounds. We should invest in this potential that we have, which allowing people also to be contributors to our society for the common good. We cannot waste that opportunity to use all the people that we have, regardless of our backgrounds. Because for the European Union and for the member states to really allow for an inclusive labor market, we need political will, we need financial investments. That needs to be prioritized to shape the future of the labor market and the welfare system in Europe. And policymakers, they must not only invest in active labor market measures, but also in social protection for all, ensuring individualized services to help the people in the most vulnerable situations in our society. So I invite you to look through the Caritas Czech Republic report. It's a fantastic resource, and thank you so much for all you have done to prepare this report. I really think it's a hugely important tool. And we also invite you, once launched next week, to ensure that you go through the recommendations in our European report properly. So just closing by saying congratulations and thank you. Thank you for what you have done to ensure that we have the overview of the situation of people being excluded from the labor market and what to do to address this exclusion. Thanks for looking into that at the Czech Republic level. We really believe this is an essential contribution that you have done. Thank you so much.